December last week, what are all the important issues which happened, that we will be discussing now. So, coming to first bill, which is called as Telecom Bill. Telecom Bill 2013 was been placed in the winter session of the Parliament. What is the Telecom Bill? The Telecom Bill, it is mainly with respect to giving excessive powers to the government. The main intention of this bill is to give excessive powers to the government to control telecom operators. How, sir? Like recording each and every conversation which is happening, or taking into control the telecom operators. So, the main intention is such that the telecommunication companies, for example, like Airtel or Jio, in that particular situation, the telecom companies will be working under the guidelines of central government. That is the main hidden agenda of this particular telecommunication bill of 2023. Other than that, it gave a legal backing that every spectrum which we allocate to a telecom company, the spectrum which we allocate to a telecom company, now onwards it will be auctioned. Means up to now there was only a government order, GO would be there. According to the GO only, they would be going for bidding with respect to allocation of spectrum, like megawatts, from this megawatt to this megawatt is called as bandwidth. For Airtel this bandwidth will be given, for Vodafone this bandwidth will be given, for Jio this bandwidth will be given. So, within that bandwidth they have to continue, they have to use their services, telecom services within that bandwidth. So, up to now this particular bandwidth bidding used to happen. This particular bandwidth bidding used to happen by the government order, but now what happened, a legal backing is being provided. Means what, it's compulsion that any government which comes in the future also, if they want to provide or if they want to sell the bandwidth, they have to go for bidding. So that what will happen, Airtel will tell that I want more 10 megawatts, or Jio will tell that I want more 10 megawatts. So they bid it. When they bid it, the value will increase. When the value increase, the bidding amount will go to whom? The government treasury. So the government will get the revenue. That is a good thing. So government will get the revenue. These are the two things which are been mainly discussed under this telecommunication bill of 2023. Number one, the government will be having exclusive power mainly with respect to controlling the telecommunication companies. Number one. Number two, it is mainly with respect to the bandwidth will be compulsory auctioned. Why? Because they are going to categorize under the bill. These are the two things which is mainly with respect to this. And one more thing, it is up to now shift from licensing regime to authorization regime. Means to run, I have to get license. Now what they did means a umbrella license. With that umbrella license, I can use any services, like I can go for internet, I can use for internet, I can use for any other purpose. So there would be umbrella licensing system. So now onwards there will be no umbrella licensing system, there will be authorization regime. Authorization regime means, for example, if they are going with internet, if they are going with 2G, if they are going with 3G, if they are going with 5G, if they are, for everything there is a need for authorization from the central government. These are the three things. So number one, with respect to exclusive power to central government. Number two, auction. Number three, shift from licensing regime to, these are the main three things which are present with respect to this telecom bill, which is tabled in the winter session of Parliament. Second program, which is called as National Program on Anganwadi cum Krichis. National Program on Anganwadi cum Krichis. What is this particular program? Anganwadi cum Krichis means simple. Then already it is there. Anganwadi cum Krichis. If you go to Anganwadi center, we can see the mother who is going in villages, who is going for daily wages, the mother who is going for harvesting, the mother who is going for any agriculture work. What she will do? She will put her baby in the Anganwadi center and she will go. Evening she will come and she will collect. That system is already there. That is called as Anganwadi cum Krichi. So that center is called as Krichi center. Who will be taking care? Anganwadi worker will be taking care of it. Now the government want to increase this Anganwadi cum Krichi centers in all the villages of India. For that they came up with a change in the name. That change in the name is called as Palana. Palana is the scheme name, whereby the number of Anganwadi cum Krichi centers will be increased so that the working woman can go. And it was earlier there was no target fixed, but now under Palana scheme, the Anganwadi cum Krichi centers targets were being increased. Means what? This many Anganwadi cum Krichi centers will be established in every village. Recently, the Union Minister of Women and Child Development inaugurated the national program on Anganwadi cum Krichi in New Delhi, underwent revisions and was included as a part of Samarthya subcontinent component of mission Shakti. Under Mission Shakti, which is an umbrella program for women and child development, mainly women development. For that woman, there is sub-component called as Samarthya. Under Samarthya, this Anganwadi cum Krichi centers will be there. Under Samarthya program, this Anganwadi cum Krichi centers will be established. According to this, aims to set up 17,000 Krichi across the country. Up to now, there is no target. Under Palana, there will be target. So, the government of India is aggressively going for construction or establishment of Anganwadi cum Krichi center. So, what will happen? More women can happily participate in work is to meet the demand for quality child care facilities, women to actively participate in workforce. That is the main target of Mission Shakti. Under Mission Shakti, Samarthya. Under Samarthya, we are going to have Palana. Palana is nothing but Anganwadi cum Krichi centers, whereby Palana is the exclusive program whereby 17,000 Krichi centers will be established. The erstwhile National Krichi scheme has been reorganized and renamed as Palana scheme under the sub-scheme called as Samarthya of Mission Shakti, Samarthya, Palana, to provide daycare facilities for children 6 to 6 years, 6 months to 6 years of working mothers in the community, to improve nutrition and health status of children, promote physical, cognitive, social and emotional development of children, to educate and empower parents, caregivers for better child care. The scheme will provide an integrated package of the following services: daycare facilities including sleeping facilities, early stimulation for children below 3 years and preschool, so from 6 months to 6. Mission Shakti, Samarthya, Palana. Under Palana, 17,000 Krichi centers will be established. What is this Krichi centers? Anganwadi workers will be there, whereby they will be taking care about the children who are from 6 months to 6 years, so that it will allow the women to go to workforce. That is the main intention of Palana scheme. So, Palana scheme is not independent scheme, it is working under Mission Shakti. Mission Shakti is all the government schemes of women and children will come under the umbrella scheme called as Mission Shakti, and all the Anganwadi related will come under Samarthya. Anganwadi and Krichi centers will come under Palana. Nutrition will be provided, growth monitoring will be there, focus on 6 months to 6 years. Exposat, you know that on January 1st, PSLV has launched Exposat. What is that? Polar Observatory. ISRO launched its first polarimetry mission Exposat on January 1st, 2024. India's first and only the world's second polarimetry mission that is meant to study various dynamics of bright astronomical X-ray sources in extreme conditions. The satellite will be looking at the space and it will be looking at the outer space. In the outer space, it will be studying the X-rays, a particular form of X-rays which is called as polarimetry X-rays. Up to now, after NASA, it is India which is going to study about this polarimetry X-rays. That is enough. Other missions of NASA already was 2021, now it is ISRO. It will become the country's third space-based observatory. Looking at space is called as space-based observatory. Looking at Earth is called as Earth-based observatory. Earth-based observatory mainly helps in what? It mainly helps in weather forecasting, monitoring, disaster management, telecommunication, mining. So, for this the satellite should look where? Earth. If I want to study the sun, if I want to study the astronomy, if I want to study the outer space, then the satellite should look at, this is third space observatory satellite for India. And this polarimetry is already studied by whom? NASA. Now, the same polarimetry X-rays will be studied by, for solar mission Aditya, AstroSat, to study the polarization of astronomical X-rays. Astronomical X-rays by which we can explore, why we have to study, sir? So that we can explore outer space. If any external energy is tapped, we can get that external energy. For that basis, we are going to study this polarimetry. Which are the rays which are being studied under this Exposat is polarimetry X-rays. Or which rays? X-ray, gamma ray, infrared, etc. It is China bans export of rare earth technology. China bans export of rare earth technology. Rare earth metals, we know who is dominant, red color, China, communists. China is 62%. Rare earth metals mainly produced, exported from China. So, the largest producer of rare earth metals is China. Second largest is Australia. Second largest is USA. Third largest is Australia. The third largest is Myanmar. Russia 1%, remaining all are 1%. India is also having 1%. So, chronologically we will remember why, because rare earth metals are very, very important. Rare earth metals are responsible for mobile phones. Rare earth metals are responsible for satellites. Rare earth metals are responsible for aeroflights. Without rare earth metals, nothing will be there, mainly with respect to technology and growth. So, 62% of rare earth metals are present in China. Second chronology, United States of America. Third is Australia. Fourth is Myanmar, or Australia and Myanmar both are 10%. China recently banned the export of technology to extract and separate strategic metals. See, understand this. They didn't stop exporting of rare earth metals. They stopped exporting of technology which will help in extracting rare earth metals. Are you getting my point? See, listen. They are not stopping exporting of rare earth metals. They are stopping exporting of rare earth metals technologies. Extraction of rare earth metals, that technology, so that other countries will not have the technology. When other countries doesn't have the technology, obviously they will depend on. So they didn't ban the export of rare earth metals, they banned the technology which will be helpful in extracting of rare earth metals. Number one. A list of technologies deemed key to national security. Also banned the export of production technology for rare earth metals. The reason is also given as Europe and USA are trying to wean themselves of rare earth metals from China, which accounts for 90% of global refined output. Means see, raw material this is 62%, but refined rare earth metals which is coming out and sold out is from China up to 90%. Now the USA, earlier they bought from China. So with that technology they are extracting rare earth metals for their consumption. If they themselves master and manufacture rare earth metals, whether there will be any business with China, there will be no business with China. So what the China thought, so if I send the technology, they will understand how to extract and they will extract and there will be no demand for me. So now onwards the technology will be staying only with China and we are not going to sell the technology. So that again whose dominance will be continued with respect to rare earth metals? Rare earth are a group of 17 metals used to make magnets for use in EVs and other electronics. Like what? Just remember. Lanthanum, cerium, praseodymium, neodymium, promethium, samarium, europium, gadolinium, terbium, dysprosium, holmium, erbium, thulium, yttrium, lutetium, scandium, yttrium, that is yttrium, this is yttrium. This was been present in Jammu and Kashmir, if you are aware. In Jammu and Kashmir, rare earth metals were being found recently. Which rare earth metal was been found means yttrium. This yttrium is very unique and used in satellite manufacturing. So these are the 17 rare earth metals. Now the world is rotating around rare earth, okay? Importer of rare earth metals. India also have rare earth. We are also importing from China. Global goal on adaptation. Recently, Conference of Parties 28 was been conducted where? Dubai, Saudi Arabia. Recently, Conference of Parties 28 was been conducted. 2023 United Nations Climate Change Conference of Parties 28. Significant progress in addressing the adaptation concerns within the international community, aligning with the Paris agreements of global goal on adaptation. Paris Climate Summit was been happened in 2015. So what are all the obligations were been made in the Paris climate? Now they are going to reiterate. Mitigation current projections suggest that global average temperature might increase by 2.8 degrees centigrade by the end of the century. Significant challenge is absence of universal metric for measuring climate adaptation, contrasting with the relatively simple carbon dioxide equivalent metric for mitigation. So one thing you have to understand, Conference of Parties 28 Dubai session didn't have any significant initiatives. For example, at least Paris Climate Summit we have International Solar Alliance. Earlier we have carbon methane tracker, but this emission we didn't do anything. We just accepted that what are the targets which we kept in Paris Climate Summit, we are going to reiterate it. Means we have to fulfill it. So no big changes came from this Conference of Parties. Where it happened? Red Tide. Red Tide is recently in the news. Red Tide. What happened? Near Puducherry, lot of sea life, sea animals were died on the beaches and the water was being in red color. Then they studied why, what happened. Then there was sudden increase in algal blooms. There is sudden increase in algal blooms. So this algal blooms increased in size, increased in number. So when these algal blooms come out from the sea surface, when they come on to the surface, it will be in red in color. So that red in color which is present in the center of the ocean, slowly they moved and came on onto the beaches. So the waves which are coming out were in which color? Red color. That red color waves were being identified as red tide. A 3-member committee appointed by the National Green Tribunal inspected the Puducherry beach near Kurchikuppam to analyze the cause behind the red tide. Red tide is event that occurs on the coastline when algae, a plant like organisms, grow out of, usually algae will grow, and algae is very important. Why? Because it will be in symbiotic relationship. Algae will be there, fish will come, fish will eat the algae, and this fish will lay the eggs on the algae, and that algae will consume some of the fish eggs and it will survive. So there is a symbiotic relationship between the sea animals and algae. But the number of algae suddenly increased because of pollution. The amount of algae which was been present on the sea surface has been increased because of pollution in Puducherry or in Bay of Bengal, because of which the number of algae has been increased. So the sudden destruction of algae resulted in more number of blood red color coming onto the surface. Are causes from the fact that overgrown algae can cause the water to change color. Red tides can be hazardous to human health as well as sea life. This overgrown algae is responsible for red color. This red color water is called as red tide. Harmful effects: toxins production, shellfishing poisoning, marine life mortality. So it is completely destroying the marine life. The red tide, actually it was a unique feature of Australian beaches only. On the coast of Australia only we will find this red tide. This is the first time India is experiencing red tide. Hence it is making news. So red tide is nothing but abnormal growth of algae, and with the sudden destruction of algae, when it got destructed, it changed its shape to the red color, it colored to the red color, and this red color has been moved towards the surface of the or onto the coast of the beaches. Then this red color is also, which is harmful to the sea life, also destructed the sea life, marine life. Stagflation, you know, stagflation, simple words, stagflation. Economy is not growing, but inflation is growing. Economy is not growing, inflation is growing. For example, if I am earning money, if prices are increasing, no problem, I can afford. If I am earning the money, means I am growing economically and prices are increasing. So I can adapt to the increased prices. But whereas if I am not earning money, there is no money for me, I am economically not growing, but the prices are increasing, then it will question my very existence. My survival itself will be questioned. My existence will be under threat. Why? Because I am not growing economically, there is no income for me, there is no revenue for me, as well as prices are increasing. So then what I will do? I will take a loan. When I take the loan, when I am putting, again the prices are unnecessarily more income I am placing in front, and I am getting the goods or services. Again I have to pay the interest. So he is falling into the debt trap. Stagflation is also one of the reason for debt trap. Because I don't have the economy, I don't have the income, but the prices are increasing. So I will be pushed more into the vicious cycle. I will be pushed more into the debt trap. That particular concept is called as stag. Reserve Bank of India believe the risk of stagflation has lowered further to 1% compared to 3% in us. That means a good sign. Earlier the stagflation was 3%, now it is reduced to 1%. It is an economic scenario where an economy faces both high inflation and low growth at the same time. The idea became popular during the 1970s when US economy witnessed high price inflation due to the oil shock, as well as an economic recession marked by negative economic growth. When no growth, prices are increasing. That particular situation is called as stagflation. There is a good news for India that in the month of December and January, the stagflation percentage has been reduced from 3% to 1%. RAMP program. What is the RAMP program? Raising, accelerating MSME performance. Raising and accelerating MSME performance. Raising the MSMEs, accelerating MSMEs, and making the MSMEs to perform is a scheme under RAMP. It is mainly working under Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Industries, so that MSME sector will get impetus. Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, 3 sub-schemes under the aegis of RAMP program. Raising and accelerating MSME performance program is assisted by the World Bank. It aims to improve the performance of micro, small and medium enterprises in India. It was launched in 2022. Improving access to market and credit, strengthening institutions and governance at the central and state level, improving center-state linkages and partnership, addressing issues of delayed payments, greening of MSMEs. National MSME Council has been set up by the ministry to work as an administrative and functioning body of the RAMP program. So this is important. Why it is in the news, sir? RAMP program came into existence in 2022. No, why it is important? Because one body was been constituted, which is called as National MSME Council. Now complete RAMP program will be administrated and worked and executed by which body? National MSME Council. The main duty of National MSME council is to look into the performances of and to provide what are all the necessities for MSME. The RAMP program is executed by National MSME. What is RAMP? Raising, accelerating MSME perform. Why it is in the news now? Because this 2022, a council was being necessitated. One council is there, that council will be exclusively looking into the working of MSME sector. Under which program? RAMP program. Saras Ajivika Mela. Saras Ajivika Mela. What is Ajivika Mela? Actually, there was a scheme called as National Rural Livelihood Mission. There was a scheme called as National Rural Livelihood Mission. The scheme name was being changed to Ajivika. What is Ajivika? Under Ajivika, women self-help groups will be motivated, women self-help groups will be encouraged, more women self-help groups will be promoted, so that the women will be entering into the economy, the woman will be entering into the business, the woman will be earning the money, so that her living standards will increase. That is the main intention of the program called as Ajivika. Saras Ajivika Mela. Why it is in the news? Union Minister of State for Rural Development, Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution inaugurated the popular Saras Mela, initiative by Deen Dayal Antyodaya Yojana National Rural Livelihood Mission of Ministry of Rural Development, to bring rural women self-help groups under one platform to showcase their skills, sell their products and help them build linkages with potential market. It is organized by the Ministry of Rural Development and National Institute of NRDA. So, a single platform was being brought, which is called as Saras Ajivika Mela. Same like Ministry of Minority Affairs, one center was been, some markets were being opened. Are you aware of this? It came to Hyderabad also, NTR ground last year. What is that market name? For Ministry of Minority Affairs, Ministry of Minority Affairs, all the minorities across India, whatever the artisan skills which they have, the goods which they produce, they will sell at one particular location. Hunar Haat. Hunar Haat. Hunar Haat is one of the initiative of Ministry of Minority Affairs. The minorities who are popular, like Sharanpur Muslims are popular for wooden. Charminar, old Hyderabad is famous for bangles, like that. With their unique products, they will be coming to this particular place and they will be selling their goods. Similarly, for MSME sector, mainly for women self-help groups, to make one center so that they can come and expose, they can sell, they can interact, they can have the investment also. One particular platform was being created. That platform is called as Saras Ajivika Mela. Saras Ajivika, you got my point? What is Saras Ajivika Mela? Is nothing but women self-help group. UNESCO Asia Pacific Award for Cultural Heritage Conservation. Cultural Heritage Conservation. UNESCO Asia Pacific Award for Cultural Heritage Conservation. What is this? Asia Pacific Award for Cultural Heritage Conservation. 3 awards were being given. One is called as, what is award name called as? UNESCO Asia Pacific Award for Cultural Heritage Conservation. For Cultural Heritage Conservation, 3 awards were being given. Number 1 is called as Rambagh Gate in Amritsar. Rambagh Gate in Amritsar, this one. This is called as Rambagh Gate. This is called as Rambagh Gate. It got which award? Rambagh Gate in Amritsar received Award of Excellence, the highest recognition among all categories. This year who got? Rambagh Gate of Amritsar got it, which is named as what? Award of Excellence, number 1 award. Which one? This one, Rambagh. It's a whole heritage it is. Inside it will be very big palace. This is Rambagh Gate. Number 2, People Haveli. That one. People Haveli. A heritage rural homestay from Punjab was honored for its sustainable development. This was been awarded by UNESCO for sustainable development, which is called as People Haveli. Award of Excellence what? Rambagh Gate. Rambagh Gate. Karnikara Mandapam at Koonamangalam Bhagavati Temple in Kerala earned the Award of Distinction. Award of Distinction. This one. So, UNESCO main 3 awards are very, very important. Number 1 is Award of Excellence. Number 2 is Sustainable Development. Number 3 is Award of Distinction. Award of Distinction was been given for Karnikara, and for Sustainable Development People Haveli, and for Rambagh Gate for Award of Excellence. Which award? UNESCO Asia Pacific Award for Cultural, that is most important. These three you have to remember. Rambagh Gate, 3-storied culture, structure, restoration involved using traditional building techniques. Gurdaspur, so mainly it is about this thing. So these are the three. Ayushman Bharat, Pradhana Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. Pradhana Mantri Jana Arogya, Pradhana Mantri Jana Arogya Yojana. Women account for 49% of Ayushman cards. Very important. So 49% of means approximately 50% of the Ayushman cards are for women. What is Jana Arogya Yojana or Ayushman card? 5 lakhs rupees general insurance, not life insurance, general insurance, mainly in which hospitals? Secondary hospital and tertiary hospital. Up to how much amount? 5 lakhs rupees will be provided per family without any paying single premium. We will have general insurance, no? Health insurance, this is all called a general insurance. Life insurance after death. General insurance, when we get hospitalized, is called a general insurance. Car insurance is called a general insurance. Two types of insurances will be there, life insurance and general insurance. Other than death, all are called as general insurance. So here health insurance in the name called as health assurance was being provided under Pradhana Mantri Jana Arogya Yojana, whereby 5 lakhs rupees will be provided as health insurance for the BPL families, not for everyone, for BPL families. Who are BPL families? Or who is having ration card? They are white ration card. They are called as below poverty line. For those people, 5 lakhs rupees will be given. For which hospital? For secondary hospital and tertiary hospital. That is enough. Jana Arogya as world's largest publicly funded health assurance scheme, offering up to 5 lakhs annual health cover per family for secondary and tertiary hospital. Chameleon Trojan. So it will enter mainly in Android mobile phone. So if any biometric is there, any PIN password is there, any PIN is there, it will enter into your mobile phone. How it will enter? By unauthorized links. How it will enter? Unauthorized links. So a Trojan means without our notice, if someone enters into our house, is called as Trojan. There is a famous story called as Trojan War. Supplementary book it is. In school it would be there. Trojan horse. Inside the Trojan horse, these people will come and they will destroy one kingdom. Without the notice of the people, if someone enters, those are called as Trojans. So chameleon horse means what? It will change its color and it will come. It will change means just it will change its color and enter into your Android phone, and it will be taking all the biometric authentications, PIN authentications, credit card information, everything. So a new malware. It is called as what? Malware. A new version of chameleon Trojan malware has been discovered by security researchers capable of disabling biometric authentication methods such as fingerprint, face unlock to steal a phone spin. This is a new which happened. Chameleon Trojan, a malware. Last time also we discussed this. Today also it came. Angola leaves OPEC. OPEC, how many countries? Last time we discussed 13 countries. 13 countries. Now Angola is coming out of OPEC. Second largest oil producer in Africa, not from complete OPEC. Second largest oil producer in Africa is Angola. That country is coming out. I told you the reason also in the last clip. The reason is OPEC countries are controlling how much oil should be produced, which is unliked by the Angola. Why OPEC country is controlling or giving regulations with respect to how much oil should be produced? Why? Because oil supply is increasing. When oil supply is increasing and demand is less, obviously the prices will decrease. When the prices come down, the stabilization of these OPEC countries will fall down. So in order to stop that, what we have to do? We have to reduce the supply. So in order to reduce the supply, the OPEC had given the direction to all the countries to reduce the production. But Angola is telling that I want money, so I will sell it. I have oil, I will sell it. Why I have to listen to you? You have to listen to me. Why? Because you are in OPEC. Then Angola told that I will not listen, I will not be in OPEC also. So they came out of Angola is the country. Is leaving OPEC after disagreement over production. President gave assent to 3 criminal law bills. 3 criminal law bills. One exclusive class I will take on this 3. This is very important now. This is not normal bills. These 3 are not normal legislations. Up to now we were been using what? Indian Evidence Act, Criminal Procedure Code or Indian Penal Code. Now onwards we should not use a word called as Indian Penal Code or Evidence Act. 3 new laws came into existence which is called as Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, which is called as Indian Penal Code. So 3 laws were being passed. First one is called as Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, replacing what? Indian Penal Code. Bharatiya Nagarika Suraksha Sanhita, which is CRPC. And the next is Bharatiya Sakshya Evidence Abhinayam, will replace Indian Evidence Act. in detail we have to study, but at least now you have to have the awareness. Compulsory one prelims question will be there, should be there. You should know about this three. What is Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita? What is Bharatiya Nagarika Suraksha Sanhita? What is Bharatiya Sakshya Abhinayam? Indian Penal Code, Criminal Procedure Code, and finally it is Indian Evidence Sedition. Sedition. Under which section? Sedition. Under which section? Section 124A. Section 124A mainly talks about sedition. What is sedition? If any person talking against the government is a criticism, it's a dissent, it's a good thing. But sometimes what the government will do, or what the government will make the police officers or the law enforcement agencies to commit. So this person is criticizing the government. So because of his criticism, there is a chance that law and order problem might come. So please file a case against him, which is called a Sedition Act, Section 124A. Now under this Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, the Sedition Act is being made decriminalized. Section 124A Seditious Act is being removed. That is a very good thing. Number one. Number two, terrorism was been properly designed, properly defined now. Second thing, what are the unique things which happened with this is abolished sedition. Remember this. Proper definition for terrorism. Proper terrorism. Cruelty against women by husband and his relatives is now defined with penalties up to 3 years in jail, outlined in the revised Bharatiya Nyaya. Means they made more strict. If you fight with husband, fight with wife. Up to now there is some provision was there. Now there is no provision. So complete direct arrest. 3 years in jail. The punishment. Cruelty against a woman, not death. Anyhow, if death is there, 304B is there, it's a dowry death. It is 14 years of rigorous imprisonment. Cruelty means if you beat also, hurt, if you cigar, then it will lead to 3 years of imprisonment. So three things are there. One is called as abolition of sedition. Number two, definition of terrorism. Third is cruelty against a woman. Has been clearly mentioned that there will be 3 years of imprisonment. Not imprisonment, rigorous imprisonment. Katina Karagara Shiksha. It is not Karagara Shiksha, it is Katina Karagara Shiksha. The next is significance of Bhutan and China boundary talks. You know, Siliguri corridor. Siliguri corridor, a narrow path of 22 kilometers is called a Siliguri corridor. If they cut here, finish, the India will be divided into two pieces. So on this junction, there is another location which is called as Doklam. 3 countries will claim it. India will claim Doklam under Sikkim region. Bhutan will claim Doklam. China also will claim Doklam. So this is a contention issue between not 2 countries, between 3 countries, Bhutan, India and China. So regarding this, the both countries are talking without involving India. So they both are talking and they are coming to a conclusion that the Doklam belongs to you or me, but third party is not at all involved. So India is angry. Because India is thinking that Bhutan is her friend. Without involving Bhutan, without involving India, Bhutan is, then India is not angry on China, but India is angry on, up to now you have been standing with me and suddenly you are, without my involving, you are discussing about, that is, hence it's a very good, very important issue, international issue. Why? Because we have which policy? Neighborhood first policy. And our neighborhood itself is not trusting us. Our neighborhood itself is not calling for the function which they are doing. So beside our neighbor who is making a function, but he didn't call us, then how much suffer, how much pain we will have. So here, Doklam, China and border held the 25th round of boundary talks and signed a cooperation agreement related to the demarcation of Bhutan-China border. Dispute primarily concerns the Doklam Plateau, India-China-Bhutan tri-junction as well as Jakkarlong and Pasmalong valleys. 3 issues you remember: Doklam, Jakkarlong, Pasamlong. Jakkarlong, Pasamlong and Doklam. These are the contention issue not only between Bhutan and China, between Bhutan, China and evolving role of Colombo Security Conclave. Just what is this conclave? If you remember, it is enough. Colombo Security Conclave. All the national security advisors of the countries who are living on the banks of Indian Ocean were called upon to this particular conclave called as Colombo Security Conclave. So Indian National Security Advisor also visited there and he had a discussion, Ajit Doval. There they came up with a declaration. What is the declaration? Protecting the lanes of communication, sea lanes of communication we will call it as. Protection of sea lanes of communication. Mainly this Indian Ocean should be protected against what? Terrorism. Against what? Pirates are not there anyhow. Against piracy. Against what? Transfer of drugs. Against what? Transfer of unorganized arms and ammunition, weapon selling and business. Unorganized things. These all things should be controlled under this particular platform called as Colombo Security Conclave. India's National Security Advisor Ajit Doval participated in 6th meeting of Colombo Security Conclave in 2024 to ensure a secure Indian Ocean alongside member states. Aims to adapt to the evolving dynamics of Indian Ocean region, which has grown in strategic significance. Through the Colombo Security Conclave, India seeks to reinforce its historical role in Indian Ocean security by assisting island nations in defense infrastructure. So mainly with respect to protecting sea lanes of communication. That word is important. Sea lanes of communication. Mainly those countries who are bordering with Indian Ocean. Indian Navy adopts new rank insignia inspired by Shivaji. Mainly in Indian Navy, admirals we have. Insignia means the badge which is located on the shoulders. Up to now, the same British legacy which was been there, the same insignia was being used by the admirals of Navy. So recently, we changed this insignia according to our local conditions. What are our local conditions? Shivaji Maharaj, what was the accepted, what was the symbol which was being used by the Shivaji Maharaj is being used now for our admirals. So hence it is making news. We are going against the legacy of British. Aligning with the PM's call to shed vestiges of colonialism, Indian Navy has unveiled a redesigned shoulder insignia for top admirals incorporating elements from Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. Recently, in which force we adopted the seal of Chhatrapati Shivaji? It is in Navy. In which position? Mainly at the position of admirals. Against whom? Colonial legacy. Government adds 34 lakh farmers back to PM Kisan. What is PM Kisan? Full form, tell me. Pradhana Mantri Kisan. You are getting money, no? Messages are coming. If it is on your name, you got, he didn't got. It's a very big conflict. PM Kisan. Full form? I know. Kishan Samman Nidhi. Every year 6,000 rupees will be paid to the farmers, irrespective of agriculture land they have. For every 4,000, for every 4 months, 2,000 rupees will be paid as an investment for agriculture. That is Pradhana Mantri Kisan. PM Kisan. Mainly those people who are not paying the tax, who don't have the vehicle on their name, will not be given PM Kisan. Who are not paying the ITR, who are not having the cars, they will get PM Kisan. Pradhana Mantri Kisan, 2,000 every month. E-Savarna, the first corporate rupee credit card with UPI. Simple this is. E-Savarna, a new credit card is started giving to the MSME sector, and this credit card will be used. This credit card will be used mainly for the MSMEs to use to pay through UPI. So it can be also helpful for paying through UPI. That is the only thing. Means in that credit card money will be there. For credit card to be paid, I should have at least online banking or there should be a swiping machine. They cannot pay through UPI. So now what they did, this Indus India Bank, they had linked this rupee credit card through UPI. So through UPI also I can make the payments by using this E-Savarna card. That is the only unique thing with respect to this. Up to now, no bank provided these services. Hence it is in the Indus Ind Bank has launched a path-breaking new corporate credit card, E-Savarna on the rupee network. It is India's first corporate credit card that allows linking with UPI apps for payments. The card offers comprehensive features tailored to frequent business travelers. So mainly for MSME sector as well as for corporate sectors, this will be provided, whereby I can also pay through UPI mega. That is called as E-Savarna. Under which bank? IndusInd. India and Oman relations. Oman. India and Oman. This is Oman. In between UAE is there, and finally again Oman is there. And that strait which is through the Oman is called as Strait of Hormuz, which travels from Persian Gulf into the Gulf of Oman into the Arabian Sea. What is the connector between the Persian Gulf and Arabian Sea is Strait of Hormuz. So Strait of Hormuz is called choke point. Strait of Hormuz is called as choke point. And the income which is earned by the Oman other than oil is as a choke point. Why? Because anything which is entering into this Persian Gulf or any ship which is coming out from Persian Gulf, they have to pay the amount to this as a toll gate. So on the choke point, what is located? Oman is located. So recently India and Oman had a diplomatic relations. Hence it is in the news. So connecting Persian Gulf with Arabian Sea through Gulf of Oman. That particular sea lanes of communication is very, very important, mainly for oil. Gulf cooperation, just remember this. Gulf Cooperation Council. Gulf Cooperation Council. How many countries are part of Gulf Cooperation Council? Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, UAE, Oman, Saudi Arabia. The 6 countries are part of Gulf Cooperation Council. They work like a one body. All the Gulf countries. Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, UAE, Oman, Saudi Arabia. All that small kingdoms. All Kuwaiti kingdom, Bahrain kingdom, Qatar kingdom, UAE kingdom, Oman kingdom, Saudi Arabia, all are kingdoms only. So this is Gulf Cooperation Council. India and Oman are set to sign a free trade agreement. What is free trade agreement, sir? What is free trade agreement? Free trade agreement means not free. Free trade agreement means without any restrictions. You can trade without any restrictions. It's called as free trade agreement. There is another concept which is called as most favored nation. Pakistan is India's most favored nation and India is Pakistan's most favored nation. Means what? It is not favoring. Means I am not going to discriminate you. How I am going to treat other countries, I am also going to treat you in the same way. That is called as most favored nation. We will give this title to those countries with whom we are having trust deficit. With whom we are having trust deficit, we will give a category called as most favored nation, so that you don't worry. You are my most favored nation. Means what? I am not favoring you. How I am going to treat other countries, I am going to treat you also the same. So free trade agreement means what? It is not free. Free trade agreement without any restrictions. Again, no preference. Another thing is there which is called as preferential trade agreement. If trade is happening, I will prefer you. It is called as preferential trade agreement. Preferential trade agreement is different from free trade agreement. Free trade agreements means without any restrictions. By following rule of law, by following WTO principles only, but there will be no excessive restriction. India and Oman set to sign a free trade agreement. Will likely sign a free trade agreement in early 2024. Will benefit export sectors, so it will import a very good business. So already we are dependent upon oil. So when we have a free trade agreement with Oman, we can easily pump oil from Oman. As well as we are very good at electronic manufacturing, so we can send our exports to Oman. In that way, the free trade agreement between the India and Oman can be helpful. It is not finalized. Discussions happened within the January month. It might be finalized and it will be finalized also. So with which country we are having free trade agreement? One of the countries, Oman. So 20 topics what we discussed today. Starting with new telecom bill. Second, national program on Anganwadi cum Krichis. Third, Exposat. Fourth, China bans export of rare earth. Fifth, global goal on adaptation. Red tide, stagflation, RAMP, Saras Ajivika, UNESCO Asia Pacific Award for Cultural Heritage Conservation, and Ayushman Bharat Jan Arogya Yojana. Chameleon Trojan. Angola leaves OPEC. President gives assent to 3. Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, Bharatiya Nagarika Suraksha Sanhita, Bharatiya Sakshya Abhiyan. Significance of Bhutan and China boundary talks. Colombo Security Conclave. New rank taken from Shivaji. Government PM Kisan, IndusInd, corporate credit card, which will help to pay through UPI also. That is, which helps to pay through UPI also. And finally, India-Oman relations.